So often I get asked about street legal trike riding. In this video, I'm going to share some information with you about what I have done. As you can see in this first picture, for me it all started in 2007 with a 03 WR450 dirt bike conversion that I built. It was definitely a rough creation, my first version. I've had several since then, as you can see in an additional build. But I will go into detail on some of the issues that may come up with being street legal and what I've done to get past those and be able to ride wherever I want. So sit back and enjoy. Alright, so one of the first challenges you need to consider or research for your individual state is, in your state that you live in, can you take any dirt bike that is not a factory legal, street legal dirt bike, such as maybe a YZ250, CR250, YZ450, doesn't matter. It's a dirt bike. Many states will allow you to convert your dirt bike to a street legal setup, whether that be adding DOT tires, mirrors, blinkers, high-low beam, the required items like that. If your state allows this, that is going to be a big first step. If your state does not allow this, that may limit which bikes you can use for a three-wheeler conversion to be able to be street legal. You may have to default to a factory street legal dirt bike setup, such as the Husky 501 that I've used. Honda sells a CR450L now model that's factory street legal. KTM has a street legal bike. You may have to default to that. So that is your first step in figuring out what your state allows. It's one of the most challenging things about doing this is trying to find DOT tires, because that is going to be one of the requirements, is to make sure you have DOT tires on your trike. I would recommend Googling golf cart DOT tires. That will help you find quite a bit of options you can use for the rear. There is options for 10-inch front wheels that will work for the front, but that is going to be more of a street setup, maybe not as oriented to be able to go straight from street to trail. The best tire, in my opinion, for the front is the STI Black Diamond that they actually offer in a 23 by 8 by 11 inch front wheel. The only scary thing is supposedly the Black Diamond tires have been discontinued. That's what I've used on the front of my trike and the rear. Now the rears are a 22-inch tall. They're good. They actually work really well off-road, but they do, in my opinion, ride like garbage down the highway. So speaking of that, fast speeds, don't think your trike's going to ride similar to how you're used to if you've ridden a street legal motorcycle. It's not going to corner the same. So the next step, or just one of the steps along the process, is you need to look up, and you can Google your state statutes on what they require for a street legal motorcycle. In Colorado, I'm showing an example here. Essentially, you're going to need turn signals, a brake light, you're going to need a horn, you're going to need DOT tires, you need a mirror. That's the type of stuff you need. So basically, consider whatever you need to make your dirt bike street legal is what you are going to also need on your trike to be street legal. So take a moment, try to research what is required in your state. Those are going to be the things you're going to need to know. Alright, so next step is you need to determine how your state defines a motorcycle. In most states that I know of, a motorcycle is defined as a 2 or 3 wheel vehicle that you sit on, etc., steer it with handlebars. Think Goldwing trikes, Harley trikes, other trikes that are out there that were motorcycles originally. So that is very important that you need to confirm that when looking into your individual state's requirements. The next and last, probably biggest holdup that you need to research is, does your state have any kind of thing when it comes to inspecting a vehicle for street worthiness that requires the rear end on the trike to have a differential style rear end? Obviously, our trikes that we're running, like I'm showing here, are just like a modern day version of an ATC 350X or 250R. You've got a solid rear axle. It is not a differential style axle. So I've heard that can be the one hang up. I don't know for sure what states that applies for sure in. I've heard California, but I'm not for sure on that. I've dealt with Colorado and Missouri, which are states that do not normally allow ATVs or side-by-sides like Polaris Razors. They're very strict about ATVs and side-by-sides they cannot be converted to street legal. So your only option in those states are your motorcycles, Dualsport motorcycles, or trike conversions like I'm showing here. You can't take your 86 350X or 250R because it was not originally a motorcycle and convert it to a street legal setup. It does not legally work that way. So those are things to check into. Do be aware that with the solid rear axle, the three-wheeler is not going to handle anything like it used to as a motorcycle on the road. It's great for getting out and just, doing stuff maybe in a small town, connecting accesses between different trails. Works excellent for that. Getting it out on a major highway, like an interstate. I've had this Husky trike on the interstate. With the rear tires, the front's a great tire. It's the rear I've mentioned that does not do that great on the road. It's not ideal to go super fast. And if I had some of the less aggressive golf cart style rear tires that maybe balance out a little better, I think going at a higher speed may not be bad, but again, still corners and everything else. So in this section where I'm in the background showing we're just out taking a ride, I'm on my three-wheeler, my brother's on his quad. This is in Missouri. He is not street legal on the quad, just taking a chance. We're on some back roads, did some gravel roading. But again, this is why this is such a great way to set up your trike, because went out, did some gravel roads. That's great for him on the quad, but then we didn't want to go backtracking all the way around, so we had to get on the blacktop for a little bit. Here, I'm 100% street legal, no worries at all about if we run into any police. On the other hand, he'd end up getting a ticket. So just another side benefit of a street legal trike to keep in mind. It's super handy. Now, some states out there, such as Arizona and Utah, and I know there's several others, if you live in one of those states, you're pretty fortunate. The rules as far as street legal setups are a lot more laxed. I know in both of those states you can make side-by-sides and ATV street legal, so therefore you could probably make your three-wheeler street legal, just to give you easier access to trails, etc. So if you're in one of those states or one that I did not list, drop a comment below and post what state you're in that you can street legal ATVs, etc. with relative ease. I know that there's a lot of states that it is not an option. So that is again why I'm sharing some details of what I've done with my trikes and the setups I've done and the research that I've done to verify. Now, do prepare to get lots of funny looks. get some thumbs up. I mean, there's going to be people that are excited, that think it's great to see a three-wheeler on the road. They have no idea. They think you're on a 1980s trike out on the street and whatever. There's going to be people that frown at you and think you're illegal and you're doing things you shouldn't. And you are also going to, more than likely, going to get pulled over and checked. Any of the pictures I have shown where I've been pulled over in the background have all been simple, though. A quick explanation of what you're doing, because they're usually just wondering, what the heck are you on? Because they've never seen one before on the road, and you've obviously got a plate on it, so now they're kind of wondering what's going on. Just in case, I would make sure you always have your license, your insurance, everything ready to go. When I originally started doing this, I would carry paperwork that I had printed off about what defined a motorcycle, 2 or 3 wheels, the DOT requirements, etc. And I had all of that with me. So if I ever got pulled over, I had documentation. I could show what I was doing and what was going on. Now, granted, the very first time I got pulled over in Missouri back in 2007 was by a highway patrolman, and I sat in his car for at least an hour because they had never seen anything like it, and he thought I was for sure doing something wrong. Came back at the end of that time, though, and agreed that I was definitely legal, which I already knew, and there was nothing I had done wrong. And he kind of apologized for taking all my time. He was normally a very stickler about, if we were out on our ATVs, we would get tickets, etc. So he was trying to think that he could do that with the trike, but that was not the case. So here is my next project, and I have another video on this about a 3rd Gen 200X. That's a 2019 CRF 250F trail bike, normally not street legal from the factory. I've already converted it as a bike to a street legal bike with DOT tires, etc. Had the inspection done, the title changed over to a street title for Colorado. Very simple process. Now I'm in the process of converting it to a trike, which will also still be street legal. That said, that bike probably didn't do 55 mile an hour as a bike. It's not a super fast bike. I have no intention on getting it out on an interstate or anything like that. It's mainly because we have so many trails here that you can access different trailheads out in the mountains on, unimproved or blacktop roads that are nothing like the interstate. But you can't do that if you're on a non-licensed vehicle. So stay tuned. I have a separate video coming on that. Make sure to subscribe. Watch that video as well. I really hope that this kind of explained some of the challenges and things you need to research to be street legal. I thought about researching every state and putting information in here, but again, I don't live in those other states. I'm not for sure. Google's your friend. You can find these things. You need to know what to look for, which I have explained. So again, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and have a good day.